Welcome back to Educator.com's Advanced English Grammar course. This lesson is about problems with prepositions and, of course, how to solve them. Let's get started. Alright, we're going to begin by asking what is a preposition. Then we're going to go over some general rules for prepositions and solving common problems with them. And we'll end with a little bit of practice. Alright, what is a preposition? A preposition is a word that shows a relationship in space, time, or some other manner. Now, we have an entire lesson on prepositions back in the basic grammar course, but just in case you've forgotten, remember the example of the log. All right, think of it this way. You're walking through the forest, as you often do, and you come upon a log, a fallen tree. Well, you have a lot of options at this point. You could step over the log. You could go around the log. If the log were hollow, which this one is not, you could go through the log. All of these words, of course, show relationships in space. Okay? If, for example, the log were ambulatory and standing in a line, you could go after the log. It shows a relationship in time. If you want some other kind of relationship, you can go home and tell all of your friends about the log. You can go home with the log if you're so inclined, or if you have a fight with your friend the log, you can go home without the log. You can look beyond the log. You can look beneath the log. All kinds of things you can do with a log, all of them involving prepositions. So, now that we're all thoroughly tired of logs, how do we solve all the problems that we have with prepositions? Well, let's look. Alright, because you are in advanced grammar, I'm going to trust you with something. You may now end a sentence with a preposition. But a lot of strict grammarians, including me, won't like it. Okay? So, you can now say, whom are you calling for? Yes, you have to say whom, that's not an option. Or you may say, for whom are you calling? I will let you use a preposition at the end of a sentence now. However, you had better use it responsibly, or I will find you. Do not use extra prepositions when the meaning is clear without them. So, for example, it's reasonable to say, where did you go, but not, where did you go to? We don't need the to. It doesn't add any extra information. Stop wasting letters. Get your feet off the chair is fine. Get your feet off of the chair is not fine because it adds no extra meaning and you're wasting type. Cut it into small pieces is fine. Cut it up into small pieces is not fine because, well, again, you're wasting letters. Alright, next rule. Use the preposition on with expressions that indicate the date of an occurrence. So, she was born on July 7th. My train arrives on the 10th of this month. We just always say on a given day. Next, never use the preposition of in place of the verb have. It is right to say I should have, verb phrase, left earlier. It is wrong to say I should of, left earlier. You never, ever, ever have to say should of, could of, or would of. Never, ever, ever, ever. If you ever type those words next to each other, you are wrong, and you should immediately delete them. Next. Between refers to two things. Among is used for three or more. What does this mean? Let's look at the examples. Between me and my brother, Aunt Shirley is known as she who must not be named. Now, obviously, we're talking about a relationship with my brother. There's only two people in this relationship, me and my brother, so we use between. Just remember that tween looks kind of like twin, and there are two twins, so just remember it means tween. Okay, two. Among my three closest friends, there is no higher compliment than your grammar is perfect. Of course, since we're talking about my three closest friends, that's more than two, so we use among. Next, the word like, when used to show comparison, is a preposition. Follow it with an object of a preposition, but not with a subject and verb. Use the conjunctions as or as if when following a comparison with a subject and verb. Let's look at an example. You look so much like your father. Well, in this case, we're comparing you look like your father. We're comparing two things, so we can use like. But you look as if you are unhappy. In this case, we're following with a subject and verb. You are. So we use as if, not like. Alright, let's do a little practice with our newly acquired problematic prepositions. Take a good look at each sentence and choose the correct word from the parentheses. Grammatical pedantry is something either that I won't put up with or up with which I will not put. Where did you get this, or where did you get this at? Go look out, or go look out of the window. World War I ended on or in November 11th, 1918. Divide the money between or among the two of you. That secret is only discussed between or among the 4 people who were there that day. I should have known better than to trust you. His eyes were green like or as grass. Or it looks like or as if it's going to rain. Take a good look. Pause the video if you need to. All right. Grammatical pedantry is something that I won't put up with. If you don't know what pedantry is, look it up. It's funny. And because you're in advanced grammar, you get to end a sentence with a preposition, so we can end with. Also because saying up with which I shall not put is sort of awkward and weird. Draws too much attention to your sentence. You don't want that. Next, where did you get this? Putting at on the end didn't actually add any information, so don't waste letters. Next, go look out the window, not out of. Don't waste letters. World War I ended on November 11th, 1918. That's how we say dates. Divide the money between the 2 of you. Remember, you got the tween for twins for 2, so 2 people you use between. But that secret is only discussed among the 4 people who were there that day because there were 4 people. 3 or more, you use among. Next, I should have, verb phrase, known better than to trust you. You never say should of. It's just not a phrase, it makes no sense, and the grammar police will come get you. Next, his eyes were green like grass. We're comparing his eyes to grass. There's nothing after like but the noun grass, so we can use like. But the next sentence, it looks as if it's going to rain. Subject, it. Verb, is going. We have a subject and a verb following the comparison, so we have to use as or as if. And that's all for this lesson. Thank you for watching Educator.com.